to get it going. Alright, so I got requested to do a video tutorial for the Avett brothers through my prayers. So first things first, the tuning is in standard tuning. So your 6th string is E, 5th string is A, 4th string D, 3rd string is G, 2nd string B, and we have another E. So once you get that in tune, it should sound like that on the E chord. And there's not a whole lot of chords in the song. It's going to be with the capo on the 3rd fret, so you're going to need one of these. But without the capo, you're going to play a C major. You're going to play a G. Some people play their G's several different ways. Play them however you want. I tend to stay in a C shape. For this song, it's particularly helpful because you're kind of here, and then you just transfer your fingers. You end up barring this 3rd fret with the ring finger, and then just playing the 3rd fret on the E string with your pinky, and you skip all the rest of the strings. So it's really an open G. So instead of you get that. So it just helps doing as little movement as possible when you're playing the guitar. You don't want your hands having to do all this extra work. You want to do as little as possible to achieve the goal. So you can play a C, you can play a G, you play an A minor, then you're going to go down to E minor. You're going to do an F, which I bar my F with my thumb, as you can see here, wrapped over the 6th string. You can play a bar chord. Either way, if you haven't played guitar for a long time, bar chords are hard. This is probably even harder, and not everybody has the hand shape to actually wrap around and play that like that. But my advice is to practice and play it whatever way is easiest for you. So we have the C, G, A minor, E minor, F, back to a G, and a C. So with that being said, we're going to put the capo up on the 3rd fret. I like to put my capo just behind the fret. And now this is essentially the nut of the guitar. The guitar starts here. This is all useless at this point. So at the beginning of the song, we're right in that C chord shape. And there's 2 guitar parts, but for a solo guitar, the way that I generally play it, I'll play the rhythm and the lead part at once. So I get in the C chord shape, ring finger on the 5th string on the 3rd fret, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then my index finger on the 2nd string on the 1st fret. As you see, I use my thumb. My thumb is muting that E string there. So it's not doing anything. You don't have to play it that way. It's just a technique that I have learned over the years. Nobody taught that to me. I'm self-taught. It's just something that I've come up with, so when I'm strumming, I'm not making it sound like that. You don't want to hear that in there. It just ruins the whole chord, so there you go. Some people play their C with their ring finger on the low E string. In this situation, I'm not going to do that. So we're going to be on a C. I think I end up doing a walk-up, starting with the open A string. So you get that walk-up. Open A string, 2nd fret. So you're kind of in that position. You can even take your C and just keep this finger planted down. So I'm going to move a little bit closer just so you can see the finger pattern. There's a hammer on right there. Middle finger. There's your G chord. So what you're doing is you're going from a C chord. I'm going to shift my ring finger. And actually my pinky's not even moving on, just playing that bass note. So what we do is So what we're doing right there is, again, we're going to walk up on that chord. And then I'm going to hammer on again with my middle finger up onto the G string. And then back down to my C chord. Ring finger transitions. You don't have to do the pull off if you don't want. You can do something like... I guess to get the lead part right, you really have to at least pull off with the middle finger. You don't have to include your index finger. So you don't have to do a... You can just do... Because that's probably what is on the actual recording. Just... Okay, so there's that part. And then we're going to do another hammer on here on the A string. All that is just one finger right on this second string on the second fret. That's an A minor. Then another hammer on. Notice how my index and my middle didn't even move from that A minor. And it's just a pluck and a hammer on with the third finger onto the fifth string. And then again back to the G. So one more time. Just repeats. Okay, so after we get through there, it starts into the verse. So that's going to be our intro riff. That's going to be after the first verse and chorus, whatnot. It's going to go right back into that same little riff. So if you can just learn that little transition there, and you'll be good. So when it starts off, after that, it's going to go right into the verse. It's a C chord to a G. And again, here's my G with my ring finger and just the pinky. This A string is not doing anything. It's kind of muted because my ring finger is almost laying across it, and it's muting it. And that's okay, because in a normal G, you'd play that note in there. That is definitely not the G, the full G chord that is on the recording. So here's all you're hearing. And you'll find out that you can find little ways like that to cheat, especially when you're singing anyways, because as long as you get the root note, realistically you could just play the root note while you're singing and nobody would even notice. But for the sake of this song, we're going to go C, G, A minor, E minor, to the F. Again, you can bar it. It's the same notes. To a G. And then I call that a walk up. Think about you walking up the neck. So from that F to the G. So in slow motion. A lot of my chords I start with the root note and get the rest of my fingers into position. So it's a little cheat there. If you at least get the root note, you have a little bit of time to work the rest of those fingers into the chord shape, and you just have to practice that. So with the words, it's hard to believe I won't see you again. We were just fighting when winter began. The coldness of our words competing with the wind from the north. Okay, so after he says north, kind of just resets. Still they make me shiver, but in a that time through, it'll hold that G just a little bit longer. Add a little bit of drama to it. I dream of all dreams and my hope of all hopes is only to tell you to make sure you know how much I love you and how much I always did. So on that C chord there, getting back to the G. So we're on that C, hammer on, a lot of hammer-ons. Let's see. And yes, I know you love me, I can see it in your eyes. And it was in your struggle, and it was in your mind, and it was in the smile you gave me when I was a kid. So it's the same progression there, just a few chords. It's not that hard chord-wise. It's all the little stuff, all the little runs, the little hammer-ons that add the emotion to the song that you're going to practice on. And so when we get to this little chorus or pre-chorus here, we're still going to be on the same chords, but what we're going to do is call in walk-downs. So you're going from a C chord. So what we did is take the bass, the root note of the C, and then walk it down to the 2nd fret, and then to an A minor. So, feels like no one understands. Same chords. So your main chords are C, A minor, G. So while you're getting it down, the transitions, if you turn the song on to play along to the song, you can just play those. Feels like no one understands. And now my only chance. Then we go to an F chord. To talk to you is through my prayers. Same old little hammer on. My middle finger's the only one doing the work there. So if we actually play the chord, we're going to go, feels like no one understands. And now my only chance to talk to you is through my prayers. I only wanted to tell you I cared. And then we start over at the beginning. And then we go right back into another verse. Every night after and every day since, I found myself crying when the memory hit. Sometimes it knocks me down, sometimes I can just put it away. Down in my mind where I don't care to go, the pain of a lesson is letting. It's the same as the first verse. All the little hammer-ons and stuff like that, you just have to remember you're on a C chord. There's no surprises in notes. If you can learn the notes that are in there, it's all the same stuff. It's repetitive. And once you learn it once, you're going to be good. From there, it's really just with the timing. When I learn stuff, I'm to a point where I can learn the notes pretty much by listening to it by ear. And the rhythm, what I'll do is I'll turn the actual recording of the song on. And once you get the chords down and you know the chords that you're playing, all you have to do is turn the song on and play it over and over and over again until you sound like them. When I taught myself how to play guitar, I never took lessons. I did that for hours, and I still do that. When I want to learn a song, I just turn it on. I don't look up tabs. I've never really used tabs. Maybe when I first began, and there's nothing wrong with tabs, but I found that I learned better by doing it. So you can look at a tab to tell, oh, well, I can't remember what an A minor is or what fingers go where. But hopefully in this video you can see where my fingers are, and you can push pause, and then you can just map it out. And you have to develop your ear, though. Most people don't have an ear right off the bat. You learn that from listening and playing along. So we're back at the little part after the verse, the second verse. We're gonna be, yes, now I understand, but now my only chance to talk to you is through my prayers. I only wanted to tell you I care. There's an A minor there. That does not do that in the first verse because he goes back and repeat that I only wanted to tell you I cared. So I'll go back into that. Let's see. But now my only chance to talk to you is through my prayers. I only wanted to tell you I care. I only wanted to tell you I care. Just the same intro riff as your outro, and just practice it over and over again. It's not terribly difficult with the chords, but again, with all of the little idiosyncrasies to the song, the hammer-ons, it turns into being a piece that is going to be hard for a beginner. But overall, just keep playing it. There's only one way to get better, and that's just to keep doing it. And when you get to a point where you can actually play the song, I think it's incredibly important, no matter what song that you play, to really capture the artist's true intention of the song, the emotion of a song, because you don't want to be too much like a machine with music. Music is an art. It's art through sound, and I watch plenty of YouTube videos of people that, skill-wise, they can play good, they can sing in key, and probably better than me, but a lot of, especially younger people, tend to miss the emotion of a song, whether they wrote it or they're playing a cover. You have to portray a story in the song, otherwise it's boring and it's bland, and that's what people don't want to hear. So for example, in this song, it's a sad song. You have to put yourself in the artist's position. And I think that everybody can relate to losing somebody and not being able to talk to that person or say what you wanted to say to kind of get closure or something like that. And so the only way to talk to them is through prayers in this particular case. So you have to put yourself in that state of mind when you go to play this song, that you're not sitting on the beach in Hawaii and Paradise, all poppy and preppy sounding. With your strumming, you want to capture the emotion, and that's one of the harder parts to music, especially with the song, where you're not doing this. that just sounded terrible to me. Maybe you like to play it that way and that's your choice, but it's a much harder and more sophisticated piece to play when you when you start adding those little details in, that kind of adds your own little fingerprint to the song. And it's one of the things that I particularly like about the Avett brothers is that they have several songs that are the exact same chords, even with the capo on the same fret, but yet they change up the feel of the entire song, basically how it's strummed or how it's played and the different melodies inside of the song. There are so many songs out there that have made people millions of dollars that are only 4 chords, but you can play those 4 chords a million and one different ways. And everybody has their own unique sound, and your personality really does come through an instrument and your voice as well. So I think it's really important to try to capture what the artist originally intended the song to be. You can always add your own little fingerprint to it, like I said, and that's what makes music great, is that you're not going to sound the same as I do. But as long as you're kind of telling a story, you're not acting like a robot. I'm sure that if I did a cover of the song, feels like no one understands. It's just more harsh to the ear. To me, it's not really musical. You take away a lot of the feeling and it's just bland. And that's not what keeps people interested in music. So you want to capture, to the best of your ability, the emotion in a song, no matter what it is, and really try to portray that along. It's a story, it's a movement through sound. And I think that's important. So if you do that, you practice the song, whether you are just playing in your house like I do. I really don't play out. I don't gig out. I'm not trying to make a living through music. But it brings a lot more satisfaction. And when people hear that, it's not that they just hear it. You can feel the song. And that's what makes an artist an artist. And that's what makes great artists great. And I think that's one of the biggest appeals to the Avett brothers, is that they have a dynamic that they can go from rowdy and upbeat to real mellow, just like flipping a light switch, just like that. And that's great. It's literally a movement. If you've been to one of their concerts, you can understand, because it's, they'll go from a slow song, flip that switch, and there you go. You're right back up to an upbeat song with electric and whatnot. So practice those things and stay at it.